Hello, welcome to Hope Church Harrogate's Message of the Week. If you'd like to connect with us, please head over to hopeharrogate.co.uk/connect. We'd love to hear from you.
It's so much fun to be church family. Whenever I travel, I miss you guys so much, and it's such a joy to be here together. We are on week 3 of the pre-sermon series. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. And we are on week 3, which is very exciting. We have had 2 weeks of cards now that have gone home with you. Has anyone been using them? You don't have to say every time, but has anyone been using them at all? Yes. I'm going to ask. Could anyone come up and say like one of them that was helpful to you, or anything that was like, ooh, I've tried that. Also, you could say, I tried this thing and wasn't convinced that I liked it, but it was good to try something. Would anyone be willing to just feedback a little bit on the cards with a microphone? I'll run around. Anyone? Come on. It's off. Anyone willing? No. I hear rumor. Oh, go on, Pete.
Right. Ooh, are we on?
We turned it on.
It's on. Yay. I have found the one this week, reading scripture and praying that over a situation really helpful.
Good.
Not only does it ground you in truth again, but sometimes you just don't know how to pray.
Yeah.
And so it's really easy. You're just repeating what Jesus was saying in this instance. But how easy is that? And it's all up to him. So it worked well.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you. Yeah.
It's the one from the first one.
Yeah.
And it talks about look out through the window and see if there's anything that reminds you. So I did that. And there was my apple tree in the garden, which is like got so many apples, some on the floor. And I was like, this just reminds me, God, of your abundance, of how you bless us. So I started praying into that and just thanking God of how I cannot count all the blessings that he has. So that was a helpful prompt to look out. If anyone wants apples, you're welcome to come to me.
Thank you. Anyone else want to feedback on the cards? Thank you for trying them. They're not something that you have to whip yourself to try to do every time. They're there to serve you, to have you try stuff you might not have done before, just to make you feel a bit more confident and stuff. You'll have a new pack this week. This week, we are talking about, I should stop holding this. This week, we are talking about asking God for stuff. So the first week we were talking about how do you have a conversation. Last week we were talking about intercession and Adam's excellent sermon about interceding and standing in the gap. I loved it. It wasn't minding the gap, it was mending the gap. Excellent. I was watching it in somebody else's church and was sitting there and I went, ha, really loud. And someone was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes. I was like, excellent wordplay, Adam. Excellent. Mending the gap. Delightful. And this week we're talking about asking for yourself. And I find that with prayer, this is kind of what we always mean in the first place. Like, yeah, prayer, like great conversation, interceding and stuff. But what about this time when I need stuff for me? How do I get God to do the stuff that I told him that I wanted? And it can get really, stressful, partially because this is the vulnerable parts of our heart, right? The stuff that we want, the stuff that we need, the stuff that's inside of us, a job. I don't know if you've ever been lonely at school or work, but some of the big things that I remember praying to God for years for is a friend, like an actual friend. I wanted good grades on an exam. There's these things that happen in our life that you're like, I have no control over this. Only God can do this. And so I'm going to ask him for this. And I really want. And the Bible has loads to say about it. The word prayer is mentioned something like 650 times in the Bible. It's a lot. And I can't possibly give you everything in that one. But there was something about, for me, as I was praying about what to talk about when we're asking God for things, about needing to figure out who we're asking. Because I think what we've done to God has been like, oh, I love having conversations. Lovely, lovely. And, oh, yes, I can intercede and stand in the gap. And isn't it great? But when it comes to asking God for something, we're like, God, I need you to be the vending machine in the sky, right? I need you to be like, I have it. And then we go up and say, 1 Snickers, please. And you go, absolutely. Poof, and it spits out the bottom. And that's what we kind of treat God as when it comes to asking. I am a vending machine person. I like how they make everything cold. I don't know why, but you want chocolate and then they give it to you slightly cold. And I'm like, that's a lovely experience. And so going to a vending machine was always very exciting to me as a kid. And I go up and you know how it has the whole range and you're like, ooh. And sometimes they give you a range of the same thing. There's 4 M&Ms, all peanut M&Ms, but you're like, ooh, do I want B4 or B5? Like, I don't know, which one do I want, which looks better? And then you put in some money, or now you can just tap a card and be like, I want B4. And then, you've all seen it, it rotates towards you, and you're like, come on, and then it falls, boom, and you're like, yeah, and then you bend over, and then you have to find it, and then you're not sure, and then it's there, and then you're like, hurrah, unless there's the moment that you push B5 and you watch your delicious peanut M&Ms come towards you and come towards you and come towards you and then drop and then dangle by the corner and you can't get it out. Does that happen to anybody? Why does it do that? And so now you're watching the thing that you want so bad and it's not coming. And then you think, how violent am I willing to get right now? And so then you do the sort of bump and look. And then isn't it like 3 people a year are killed by vending machine accidents of like trying to climb in or push it or do some, there's something that just, come on, I paid for this. I did everything that I was supposed to do. And why isn't my thing coming out of the machine? And so you bang it and then you have to decide, do I spend money to get a second one? Will they both drop? Will it not both drop? What do I need to do to manipulate this vending machine to give me the thing that I asked for? And my suggestion is that there are times where our relationship with God becomes completely about getting him to spit out the thing that we asked him for because we want it. And we want it. And that's the thing I want. And I'm focused on it. And it's coming. And I've done all the things. Like I did the praying thing. And then I did the persevering in prayer. And I read my Bible once. And I did all the performance of all the stuff that I'm supposed to do that I think maybe to make him happy enough to give me the thing. We even call it answering prayer. Have you there that when you say, has God answered your prayer? Which doesn't mean has God in any way communicated with you or talked to you. What do we really mean by did God answer your prayer? Did he do the thing that you told him to do? Yes. It's like all other communication from God. Did he answer your prayer as in do exactly what you asked him to do? There's something about it that made us go, I'm going to treat God like a vending machine. And then when we don't get it, we feel disappointed because I told him what I wanted and I didn't get it. My suggestion to you is that prayer is way better than that. Because when you're treating God like a vending machine, of course you're going to be disappointed in it. Because you're like, that's your job. You have everything behind this glass and I have to ask you for it. And anything I want, I have to ask you for. And I have to manipulate for it and I have to get it. But that's not who God says he is. There is no verse in the Bible that says, and lo, I am the heavenly vending machine. Ask and I'll give you exactly what you want every time because my whole job is to wait until you ask. And then if you manipulate me well enough, I'll spit it out. The first thing I wanted to suggest to you is this. We got to change the way we think about God from a vending machine to a father. Now, I couldn't make a PowerPoint because I didn't have time. So you're stuck with stuff written on a piece of paper, okay? Just so you know. / this is a highly creative way of illustrating my point. Don't judge me. Right. So this is trust your father. For me, there's something. Oh, thank you. Sandra, my wing woman today. Right. There's something about changing the idea from what can I get out of the God who holds everything behind the glass of what I want to the idea of a father that will absolutely transform your asking. I almost died there. Did you see that? That was, wow, that was shocking. 1 John 3, God talks about himself as a father all the time. In 1 John 3:1, John is talking about how great God is. And he says, see what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. And that is what we are. If we're children of God, then God is our Father. And parents, unfortunately, are not vending machines. Children, you know this. I need you to testify. Do you ask your parents for something and they instantly give it to you no matter what you ask? No? No. You sure? All right. Even who would say you have a good parent? Yes? All right, sorry. Everyone put your hands up. Sorry, that was terrible. I apologize. I saw all hands go up in this room. Excellent. Even if your parent is good, do they give you everything you want? No. So if God's our Father, then we got to stop treating him like a vending machine, because that's not a parent's job. A parent's job is not to give you everything you want. What is a parent's job? Now, everyone can answer this question. Kids and adults can answer this question. What is a parent's job? What is their job to do for you? I'm going to write this stuff down. You can raise your hand or call it out, depending on how you're feeling today. Yes, what's a parent's job? To look after their children. That's good, yes? So to look after, that sort of care and concern. What else do we have? Yes. To protect you. Yes. Right. What else do we have? Protect. What else do we have? Yes. To care for you. Yes. What else do we have? What else is a parent's job? Adults, you're allowed to help too. Oh, let me see here. Yes. To what? To feed your kids. Absolutely. Yes. You're making me work for it. Yes. On the floor. Yes. Go on, Aya. To look after the children. Exactly. And to teach them. Yes, that's a good one. Absolutely. What else do we have? Is there more than that, or is that the entire job? Yes. Discipline. Amazing. That didn't pop up with the kids. Discipline. What else? Shape character. Very good. Interesting. Shape character. What else? Yes, Liz. To play. Yes, absolutely. What else? To love you. Yes, very good. What else? So I have to bring my ears over because I couldn't hear it. Say it again. To give you help. Very good. I hear yes, Tim. To give you help, pass on values. We've got loads. Okay, hold on. I have to remember. I can only remember two things at once. Pass on values, help. I could go through. I'm going to stop us there because I could keep going. And I've got scripture for each one of these. I have talking about, we missed guidance. Well, I guess that's shape character. Guidance, John 16:13. The Spirit of truth will guide you into all truth. He'll tell you what is yet to come. Boundaries. Adam and Eve, like right there, the 10 Commandments. So much of boundaries. He could provide for you. Philippians 4:19. But my God will supply all your needs according to his riches and the glory by Jesus Christ. Love, Ephesians 3:18-19. May you have the power to understand how wide, how long, how high, how deep his love. Discipline, the Lord disciplines those he loves in Hebrews. Responds to you and play with you. Isaiah 49:15. Can a mother forget a baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. To enjoy your kids, Zephaniah 3:17. He rejoices over you with songs of gladness. God is doing all of this father stuff, this parent stuff. And yet sometimes We forget who we're asking stuff from, as if God's only job is to just spit out what we tell him to do. But if we're looking at a father, then we're looking at a God who is looking after us and caring for us and shaping our character and teaching us and loving us and rejoicing over us and disciplining us and passing on his values to us to shape us to become more and more like Jesus. There's a lot of reasons for God's response to us besides the thing that we ask for. Now, does that mean we should just shrug our shoulders and not do anything? Well, yes, is an interesting answer. And to back you up, sir, there is something in Matthew about trusting this father, because parents are proactive. It's not like parents sit around twiddling their thumbs and do nothing unless a child asks. Can you imagine? Like, that's exhausting. A parent is constantly thinking about, what do you need next? And what's the thing after that? And how do I provide for that? There is a proactivity to parents, and God talks about this. He's talking in Matthew 6 about what people are worried about. And in Matthew 6, he says, don't worry, saying, what shall we eat? And what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. There's something about the fact that God doesn't wait for you to ask to provide for you, take care of you, care for you, love you, guide you. God is already working on your behalf. God's got a plan and is doing stuff. But do we just twiddle our thumbs? No. You know why? God says also a lot about asking. I have 3 banners. Hang in there. We got 1 down, 2 to go. Heckling is a part of church work. So, the second thing we do is we ask, because it's actually okay to ask. It's okay to ask. It's not like God's like, I know, leave me alone. There's something joyful about asking, and asking how you want to ask, and what's going on in your life, and what is your desires of going on inside of you. Relationship is built in asking for what you want. Friendships would be very, very sad if you never were allowed to ask. Relationships and marriages would be awful if you weren't allowed to ask and just hope the other person knows. Relationships with God, he is constantly saying, ask. Ruth, can you help me? He's constantly saying in Scripture, ask, ask, ask. Come close to me, ask. He is filled with times where he wants you to come close and ask him, because that's just part of relationship. John 15, he's talking about this, and he says, if you remain in me, and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. In 1 John 5:14, he says this. 1 John 5:14, he says, this is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have what we asked of him. He's like, yeah, see me and then ask. Not just go, vending machine in the sky, I need something. He's like, look at me. Know everything I want to do for you. Now ask. So yes, absolutely ask. But then this number 3 is the important bit. Thank you, friend. In the Lord's Prayer, he gives us a big clue of what our third one is. Jesus was teaching people how to pray, and he said, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. What? Your will be done. You, not me. It's this weird combination of saying, the God that I trust to protect me, discipline me, play with me, love me, take care of me, shape me, teach me, pass on his values to me, care for me, I can ask, because he says, you are my kid, and I want to hear what is on your heart. I want to hear what it is, but it's my job to say what you want, not me. I remember once my parents, I really wanted to go on this sleepover. I don't know if you've ever had a sleepover. That's really important. Who has been on a sleepover before? Okay, Great, excellent, just checking. It was very exciting. It was going to be a 2-night sleepover. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. This is like 2 nights. And this is back in the 80s when we used to do TPing people's houses. Like, this was going to be epic. And we were very excited. And there was a whole toilet papering people's houses war going on. And it was going to be awesome. And I was like 12. And I was so excited. And my parents said I couldn't go. And I was like, why not? And they were like, we're just choosing no. And I was so angry because I was like, justify yourselves. And they were like, that's just not something that we feel is going to be right for you at this time. And I was so mad because I was like, I've asked. I did all my chores this week. I did all the right stuff that is supposed to get me permission because I asked and you're supposed to just give it to me. And I was so mad, and I was so mad, and I was so mad. And my parents, I noticed them cracking slightly. You know, when you see the crack? You're like, this is it. I'm going to shove a wedge in there and be like, I promise I'll do all my chores next week, and I'll do your chores, and I'll do everything for free, and I'll be fine. And I saw a crack, and then they stiffened their resolve, and I was so annoyed. And that night, I was sitting there just resentful and angry. And I was looking around, and all of a sudden, I heard a knock at the door. And I opened the door to see my favorite aunt and her entire family, who had traveled in from a completely different state and were coming to stay for the week, and I had no idea. My parents' no was because a much better thing was about to happen, but I was busy being angry at the no instead of thinking, well, the no had a reason. Had I been gone, I would have missed the most exciting surprise of my life, and they were only there for 3 nights, and I would have missed 2 for something that was way less awesome than my favorite relatives ever who came from a faraway state. It was awesome, and yet I was busy thinking what I wanted. There's something about the saying, okay, you are the God who knows all these things, and you know what's coming, you know what's behind, you know me, you know what's good for me, you know how to love me, care for me, take care of me, play with me. This is what I want, but you know all the stuff I don't know. So you do the better stuff for me than me, because I only know this little bit, and you know the big stuff. There's so many jobs that I wanted in my life that I'm really glad I didn't get. And there are so many friends I really wanted to be close to me that I'm really glad didn't become my friend, because God knew way better than I did what I needed for my life. And so we're going to try it. Well, we're going to try it in 2 different ways. First of all, I have a thing for families to try. It's an experiment. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's always fun to try things. So this experiment is this. It's going to happen later. Let me move my huge box of sweeties over here. Hold on. Right. Parents. First, I'm going to talk to parents. Parents, I have a large amount of sweeties up here. I also have a bunch of non-food-based stuff over here. Books, stickers, interesting things over here. What I would love for you to do today is at the end of the service, come on up and grab some stuff for your children. And I would like you to think in your heads when you're planning on giving it to them. When the best time in your life is. Maybe today, maybe sometime later this week. And you may come forward and go, no, there's something better for my kid, so swap it out for something that's better for your kid if you want to. But I would love for you to come up and select something for your child. Plan when to give it to them. And wait and be faithful to give it to them in the time that you have determined. But kids, my question is this. Do you trust your parent to remember that it exists? Do you think that you should ask 15 times or 1 time? I mean, I wouldn't advocate not asking at all because, asking a parent is important. If you ask once, would you trust that their weight is good enough? Do you feel like you maybe don't trust them and you want to say it again or remind them? It's an interesting experiment. And I think it's sometimes helpful to just try it. And once the parent's time that the parent has previously decided to give it happens, and you give it to the child, I suggest you have an interesting conversation about what that was like for you as a parent. What was that like for you as a child? Because there's something really interesting about waiting for something that you know a parent has and trusting that they have it. That's the experiment that I put to you. It is just for a conversation. And for those of us who don't have kids in our family, Feel free to do it with your spouse or a friend if you want to. But I just want to, I think it's an interesting thought experiment. I thought it up, and I probably spent 2 days thinking about, am I willing to wait for the timing of God? It's an interesting thing. It's just a thought experiment. But first, I want to try something together. And so if I can invite the band up, we are going to do something together because I want us to practice this whole thing. So we're going to practice thinking about who God is, asking him for something, and submitting to the Lord what it is. Because kids, I have this question to you, and adults, I have this question to you. Did Jesus get everything he asked God for? No, he didn't. When he was praying in Gethsemane, he was praying right before he went onto the cross. And he knew who his Father was. And he was facing this big thing. And he did this. He said, Abba, Father, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me. He was like, please, I do not want to, this is going to be painful. This is like, if it's possible that we do this another way, let's do this another way. Take this cup from me. Yet not what I will, but you will. Jesus, God on earth, in his full humanness and full godness, was like, I know who the Father is. I'm going to ask. But your plan is awesome. And so what you want, not what I want. It's a wonderful thing, what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to worship. We're going to remind ourselves of who the Father is. We're going to sing a song. We're just going to worship the God who loves you, takes care of you, protects you, has plans and purposes for you, has beautiful things for your life and for the people that you love and know. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to ask God for something. Whatever is in your heart that you have, we're going to ask God for it. And we're going to submit to him. But first, we're going to worship. So let's just stand up and sing to God. And then we're going to do this whole process. God, I thank you that you are our Father who protects us and disciplines us, who plays with us and feeds us, who looks after us, passes on your values and cares for us and helps us and teaches us and shapes us and loves us. We worship you now, God.